marketing doesn't have to be dour and drab and hitting people over the head with the offer until they submit. Marketing can actually entertain and brighten people's lives.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Level Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I am joined by James Watson. He's the founder and CEO of More Results Marketing Agency, and he's also a consultant and coach who has worked with over 1,000 business owners since 2007. James, thanks so much for coming on.
Pleasure to be on the spotlight, Chase. Thanks so much for inviting me.
No, the pleasure is ours. James, talk to me. A lot of times I get a question or I see a question going through Facebook, etc. Can you do cold outreach on HighLevel? And I think we all know the answer is yes. You're a specialist in this. Talk to me about cold email outreach and the way that you do it, the way that you teach people to do it when it comes to prospecting for their business.
Well, there's a lot of misinformation and about cold outreach, and there's lots of different ways of doing cold outreach, to be honest. There's more than one way to be right. So you can use standalone sending tools, you can use Google as a sending platform, you can even use, some people use Gmails and just email straight from them. But I have found that the most consistent and efficient and effective way to cold email is using HighLevel. And emailing directly out of HighLevel via Mailgun as the SMTP with the best stats, the best integration. And because the reality is cold email, there's two different levels of cold email. And I think the real key is the volume. If you're someone who wants to do 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 cold emails, no, I wouldn't recommend using SMTP. I'd recommend a different solution, probably a custom SMTP server that you maintain. That's a lot more complicated, a lot more expensive. But if you're just doing relatively low volume, especially if it's B2B cold email, then you don't need fancy systems and expensive servers. As long as there's two key criteria for success with cold email using Mailgun. Number one, you've got to have clean data. So keep the bounce rate low. I'm talking sub 5% overall. That's really the golden metric, and the lower the better. If you keep the bounce rate low, number one, and number two, if you keep the spam complaint rate low, then Mailgun, is not going to give you any issues, and that's the reality. So if you cold email in a very clean way, then the combination of HighLevel and Mailgun is a fantastic combination.
So from what I just heard, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and it sounds like, would you recommend not the buy a huge list, load it up, blast away approach, but more of a slower, more targeted cold outreach approach?
100%. The way that the marketing world is going, it's not about the volume game anymore. I saw somebody share a screenshot on a social media today of somebody's somebody doing 100,000, I think it was 110,000 emails with a 5% open rate. And they literally showed this, and it's like, that's spamming, right? By definition.
Sure,
So,
yeah.
Listen, if spam didn't work to a degree, people wouldn't do it, right? Spammers wouldn't exist.
Sure.
It can work, but it's not a business model I'm going to recommend, because it obviously lots of difficulties, lots of things that are not good about it. So really, the reality is laser focus, laser targeting outreach, quality messages with quality prospects is the way to do the cold email game. And if you do that, you're going to get better conversion rates, and you don't need to send as much email. And so it's easier to keep those metrics in good condition, i.e. a low bounce rate and keeping the spam complaint rates low. That's really the key. Target and focus.
I would totally agree with that. And I'm always, I guess I'm always surprised at the lack of effort or creativity people are willing to put into it. I feel like I get really good response rates on cold outreach, but I take a lot of time and I look the person up and I'll go through their Twitter and I'll read their tweets and find something interesting that I can reference in my email to say, hey, I saw that you posted this. I really, I love the point or whatever, so that, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out an in that somebody's going to appreciate, right? Do you have any tips or tricks that you recommend or that you teach when it comes to like what you're actually going to write?
Well, 100%. And I guess one of the ways that I'm do quite a lot on Twitter, and we kind of cross paths on Twitter as I was posting about stuff as I do regularly there. I love the engagement over on Twitter. There's a real good community, and I've been sharing on Twitter what I've been doing with LinkedIn and also cold email outreach. And the thing that really has captured a lot of people's imaginations, and I've been on other podcasts to talk about, is a concept which I call personalized image marketing.
Yes, this is my next note to ask you about. So let's get into it.
Well, let's
PIM,
get straight
right?
into
The PIM.
That's right. Yes, not the
All
drink,
right.
PIMS, but personalized image marketing. And what does that mean? Well, essentially, it means using images, as you can imagine, but also creatively customizing, personalizing those images, and sharing them in a cold outreach format, whether
Okay.
it's via LinkedIn message or whether it's a cold email.
Okay.
And the thing is, I mean, images are so powerful. We all know the power of memes. We all know the power of images in the advertising world. Obviously, they dominate, and it very much the case in cold email too, because images people can get immediately the concept you're trying to get across.
Right.
And the picture is worth 1,000 words.
I was just going to say 1,000 words, right? You look at it.
The cliche is true, and the thing about cold email, you want to keep them short. So you ask about tips. Keeping those emails short is a key one. I see all the time people come to me with their scripts for cold email outreach, whether it's on LinkedIn or email, and they are essays. So keep it short. Now, the great thing with an image, it does a lot of the heavy lifting. You can actually put quite a lot of text on the image. You could put a lot of the spam words on there, like free or something, which you want to avoid in your email.
Good point.
But you put them on the image, and then the emails are not going to be read, so you can get away with it. So there's a lot of opportunity to craft compelling messages. But also the key with the messages I've found is to humanize the sender. And I think one of the challenges with cold email is it's very impersonal. You get this email appears in your inbox. You don't know who the person is. Obviously, that's why it's cold. And so this kind of road rage takes over. It's like, how is it there? This person emailed me. I don't know who they are. But it's very different if somebody was to email you and they have a picture of them. Literally, like, imagine a selfie. If I was taking a selfie of myself right now, and then I was pointing at a screen or pointing at a whiteboard, and there was an offer, or there was a message of some kind on there, which has to be relevant. It has to be well crafted and of high perceived value to the person you're reaching out to. The offer still has to stand by itself, but it's very hard to click the spam button when you can see the whites of somebody's eyes staring back at you on an image.
That's an interesting psychological tidbit.
Very important. I mean, it really is. At its core, how do we know how to trust people? I mean, we've been brought up by looking directly into the eyes of other people. And how do you know when someone's lying? When they're looking to the side or they're looking down and they're not looking you directly in the eye. So we really trust people at a subconscious level when we can see them. So it's very powerful to build trust at a subconscious level when we're sharing messages using images in email or LinkedIn outreach.
That's super interesting. Now, PIM, the P is for personalized, right? So are you making sure to put my name in the image? Is that what makes it personalized to me?
Well, it's amazing. You can use almost any kind of personalization merge field that you can think of, and probably plenty that you wouldn't have thought of as well. So the ones that I most commonly use, definitely first name, and that's always a good one. Company name sometimes will be good, but you can be more creative. Remember, this is an image. So we can use image merge fields, not just text merge fields.
Like a logo or something?
A logo. So you're putting a business logo on that image. I mean, if you're the business owner and you see your logo on an image in an email you receive or a LinkedIn message, you're going to pay attention to it because, again, you're hardwired. It's your logo. You're going to pay attention to it, give it consideration. It looks like it's for you.
It's like everybody's favorite word or sound is their own name, right? I think it's similar with your business and your logo, right? So seeing it makes you feel good. Now, you're talking about merge fields, which makes me think you're using some tool to automatically generate these images. Is that the case?
That's correct. Yeah. So you do need specialist software that what happens, the software will take a base image. So let's say it's a picture of you pointing at the whiteboard. The whiteboard is blank. There's nothing on the whiteboard that you're taking the picture of. But what you then do is you upload that image into the software, and the software can superimpose additional elements on top of that image. There could be text or it could be additional images. And that's how the personalization occurs.
So you feed like a spreadsheet into this tool or something, and then it pumps out a bunch of images for you. Is this a tool that you can share with us? Is this
Yeah.
proprietary, or is this you have an
No, no.
affiliate link? What's the
No, no. Well, there's a couple of tools that I can recommend, and so I mean there are some email sending tools that have this functionality built into them. So a very popular one is Lemlist, for example. A lot of people will know that in the cold email space. They became very well known because they incorporated this image personalization element into their software. But there's other standalone softwares you can use to create the images and then use with other sending softwares like HighLevel. So Nifty Images is one, Hyperize is another, UClick is another one as well. I'm checking out recently. The one I've used the most for personal experience is Hyperize, and it's definitely great software that I can recommend.
This is really interesting, and I'm sort of fascinated. I've been blown away. Recently, my team started using Descript. I don't know if you've seen this new software. It's video editing, screen recording software, and they have this feature where they give you like a script to read, and it takes a minimum of 10 minutes, and you can go as long as like 30 minutes or something. And once you read that and feed the recording into the software, it can then generate your voice. So if I'm making a video and I say pro plan and I meant to say standard plan, well, instead of reshooting the video, I can just change the words in the transcript and it will actually generate my voice saying the new words, which is like, whoa, mind-blowing, right? Like we just edited video without having to reshoot. So I can only imagine it's not going to be long until you could do this sort of thing with personalized video, right? Isn't that sort of the holy grail, to be able to send someone a video that says like, hey, Chase, and like you didn't actually have to film 100 different videos?
Well, imagine the scenario. So it's like the video is you walking into the office or sitting down, and on the computer screen you can see a video, and on that screen is your prospect's website. Now you are walking and sitting down, and it's a video, and then on the screen you can see the website and now that website is an image, could be a merge field, so it could be dynamically created for every single person receiving it.
That's pretty creative and subtle.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely captures the attention. So video is certainly powerful when it's personalized. It's early days of doing personalized images, personalized videos at scale. But I'm a fan of simplicity, though, and images are so powerful when they're used well. I got to give you one example, which is just the killer example. And I got the CEO of a $2 billion a year company responded to this particular personalized image that I sent to him, and it was following up from other messages in a sequence, and it happened to be via LinkedIn. But the image is the Cookie Monster. Now everybody knows the Cookie Monster. Everybody loves the Cookie Monster all around the world, like this universally well-known figure. And so Cookie Monster has got a collar and tie on, and he's sitting in an office, and you can see skyscrapers behind him out of the window. So he's in an office environment. This is Cookie Monster at work, and the text on the image says, first name, I haven't heard back from you, ? Now, the thing about this is we've talked about images, but we haven't talked about animated images, animated GIFs particularly. Sure. So in this case, the image is animated. So the Cookie Monster is just there, and he's just got his fingers, and he's just tapping his fingers. So it's like, Chase, I haven't heard back from you. And the Cookie Monster is just doing this at you. And it's hypnotic. It's cute. I've showed it to everybody. There's nobody that doesn't like it. And it gets responses like you wouldn't believe it. Now, there'll be a point in time when everybody in the world has seen it, and it probably won't be as effective. But we're not there yet. So it just goes to show you can use humor in images, and it's incredibly disarming, engaging, and it buys extra consideration for the message that you are conveying. I mean,
disarming is, I think, that's a really interesting point.
I mean, my clients that use this, another thing that they use that works really well is pets. Now, pet marketing is as old as the hills.
Sure.
But this is a new medium of you. Remember, taking a picture of you with a pet, and I've done this with multiple clients, and we say the pet wants to know, would you like the offer, this VIP place or this free widget that you're offering? And it's the pet that wants to know. And so we get messages back all the time saying, I'm not interested in the offer, but I love your marketing. It's like, so here's a radical idea. Marketing doesn't have to be dour and drab and hitting people over the head with the offer until they submit. Marketing can actually entertain and brighten people's lives. And images does that probably more effectively than any other medium that I've seen.
That's super interesting. And as somebody who gets a good amount of cold outreach myself, I would say there are very occasionally one where the pitch is so good or creative that I will say something like, I'm not interested, but I got to say, I respect the pitch, or I loved your angle, or whatever. But again, it just illustrates the point of how few people actually take the time to get creative, right? The large majority of them are the same thing, just spam. You're definitely not even going to reply. You might even be angered by it and hit the spam button. But you've brought up some really good points. Being able to see someone's face, see their eyes, that probably would make me less hesitant to hit the spam. I would probably just mark it unread and move on because I would feel bad. But yeah, every now and then you get one where you're chuckling, right? You're like, no, I'm not interested, man, but I appreciate your hustle. I really liked what you did there. And it does brighten your day.
It does. And it's not all about though. I mean, some clients, let's talk about software, because we're talking about HighLevel. We're on the high level spotlight. So using screenshots of your app is a great way to generate curiosity and desire. So I have clients in difficult to market areas like cybersecurity. Not easy to sell at all, even when you're looking at a cloud service or a software platform. But if you have a screenshot of a platform, and that screenshot, the UX looks good, it looks in any way interesting, people, I mean, I've tested it, right? We just got higher response rates when we attach the screenshot with the message. Now, here's the thing. Make the screenshot look like you've literally gone to Paint or something and taken a screenshot and sent it over to them. Don't put it on a nice stock picture of an iMac, with making it all look kind of fancy and nice. Keep it raw and authentic, just like a straight screenshot. And that, again, it's real, it's authentic, and that's worked really well.
That's interesting. And you also said, which stuck out to me, mesmerizing. I think short looping GIFs of screens does that to me a lot. Like ClickUp's email, they send, they push new features, it seems like every week, and it'll have a little quick looping GIF of the feature. It's a screenshot of the app, but it's mesmerizing. You'll sit there and just watch it like 10 times, right? So that's really fascinating. And I don't doubt that it actually works wonders.
So when you talk about video, I'm a fan of those animated GIFs because they are videos, and they're easier to send and easier to consume. I imagine, Chase, there's a lot of people watching this that are thinking, well, surely if I'm sending images in emails, the emails are going to go into spam. They're not going to get delivered. I hear this all the time because it's kind of in the Bible of cold email, thou shalt not use images in thine cold email. And the reality is, as long as you're not sending 5 images in your cold email, then that's going to be too many. But if it's 1 or 2, that's totally fine. So keep the images to a minimum. But if you've got one important image that really strikes home, then it's well worth taking a bit of extra risk with deliverability. Like, I've always found that trade-off to work. And frankly, the increase in engagement you get by people responding positively more than makes up for the fact that you're sending an extra image in your email, in my experience.
And it's so easy nowadays. I think a lot of people get hung up on that part of it. And I always say, I use Cloud App or JumpShare, which are these great little free Chrome extensions or I guess Mac apps that you can just take a screenshot or record the GIF and then download it. It takes 2 seconds. And now you've got a looping GIF that you can drop into your email.
100%. I will say that this is where LinkedIn comes into its own, though, because you've got zero deliverability.
That was my next question for you was, okay, let's talk about LinkedIn for a second, because I know that you're doing a lot of cool stuff with it. You're getting great results. LinkedIn is still a place to be. It hasn't become overrun by spam. What are you seeing these days?
Well, I've been doing LinkedIn outreach for 3 years now, and commercially offering it as a service to clients to use LinkedIn via their accounts to generate leads and opportunities for their businesses. Most of these businesses are B2B businesses, of course, not traditional high-level customers, but nevertheless, most of them all now have HighLevel and use HighLevel as part of their workflow. But LinkedIn is, I mean, it works as well today as ever. But the reality is, especially since 2020 and the kind of the stopping of a lot of offline marketing, far more people have obviously gone to platforms online like LinkedIn. And so there has been an increase in traffic, an increase in volume of people using it as a platform. And frankly, the average quality of the average LinkedIn outreach, much like cold email, is just terrible. It's just very poor. So it kind of cheapens and starts to reduce the effectiveness for everyone overall. So right now, does LinkedIn still work? Yes, it does. Because why does LinkedIn work really well? Because it's a human to human interaction. Because again, we've talked about the humanization of our messaging with this eyeball to eyeball connection. Well, LinkedIn is one person's profile messaging or connecting with another person's profile.
Interesting point.
It's not, people always say all the time, again, should I use my company page? And I don't want to be me. It's all about my company. It's not about me. Well, if you want to promote your company, then use advertising. Like, you can advertise from your company page on LinkedIn. That's what that is for. But if you want to connect with people one-on-one and really get response and engagement, nothing beats human to human. So it's a big advantage we have, because your LinkedIn profile page is probably one of the most important landing pages you have in your whole online portfolio, because people really will judge you based on your LinkedIn profile. And that could be positive or negative.
They index so well too, right? So you get an email from someone, you copy their name, you paste it in Google, and usually the first thing that'll pop up is their LinkedIn page, or their profile page. So it's a good point. I mean, it is a very important asset in your digital portfolio, I would say.
So I saw a tweet on Money Twitter the other day, and this is all about people that are serious about building businesses. They're more higher personal development, stuff like that. And it was a statement about a young girl, a young lady who was talking about, weighing up the potential suitor, like a young guy, who would she be interested in? She was saying, most people would say, show me their Instagram account. I would say, show me your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, smart.
Which makes sense. Yeah,
it does make sense. It's probably the smarter play if you're looking for a long-term relationship. Now, do you use, going back to strategy for a second, I've never done much LinkedIn outreach, and I know it all happens through, first you have to sort of request a connection, right? Can you work your image method into that piece, or do you have to connect first before you could send a personalized image?
Yeah, it's the latter. So you can't send connection requests with images currently. That's not possible. So yeah, just a text connection message. Then once you're connected, you can follow up with messages that include images as well as text.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So it's kind of a two-step process there. And do you use tools to help you automate that part of it?
Yep, absolutely. So again, there's a whole variety of tools that can do that. And that scenario is very dynamic and fast changing. So I could recommend tools today, and they may not be the tools tomorrow that would be the best to use. But I know there's plenty of people in the HighLevel community that are using LinkedIn and using a whole variety of different tools. I see that in the group, people talk about it, and they can all work. Like much like with email, there's lots of different email sending softwares. There's lots of different LinkedIn connection request and message sending softwares too. But again, there are fewer though that work with the personalized image strategy that we've talked about using software like Hyperize. So a couple that were standing out for people that are watching this that don't know. I know some people use WeConnect. That's one platform that I know you can use personalized images on. But the one that I've used the most, and I would recommend to people as of right now, is Expandy. So that's a tool that has a good integration with tools like Hyperize. So which means that when you have your LinkedIn message sequence, you can just literally pick an image from your Hyperize account, all synced via an API connection, and then super simple. It's actually an attachment. The image comes across in LinkedIn as such and such a person has sent you an attachment, and it's like, send me an attachment, what is it, right? So there's a bit of curiosity there. So you go and check out the message, and the attachment is the image. And so it just has more engagement, more curiosity, because you don't get that many images sent to you as LinkedIn messages.
It's very interesting. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, and the
So,
good thing about these softwares is you can actually, I mean, with good softwares like the ones I mentioned, you can actually take the responses and the connections, and then you can use webhooks to get the
sure.
data out of them and do something useful with. Was that going to be your next question?
No, I was going to say we do have a few members in the community that are building those types of APIs and making that easier to just get the data into HighLevel. But my next question was going to be about HighLevel. So you've been running with the SaaS mode, right? And you've been offering HighLevel as your own white labeled SaaS, and it's going pretty well, right? So I'd love to get an update about that side of things and where you're at with it.
Well, so the bigger picture is I started off doing LinkedIn outreach for my clients, generating lots of leads for them. What was the problem they faced? Of course, follow-up, right? Always the follow-up, nurture, etc., etc. So I was always good at taking the leads and putting them into spreadsheets for analysis and for KPI performance perspective, which is super important. But as soon as I started getting into HighLevel, and that was around August 2019, was when I got on board the train, relatively early, I guess, compared to many. So been using it for some time, and I started using it myself, and then started introducing it to clients, and found a way to get the lead data that we were producing from the LinkedIn campaigns, put them into HighLevel, add them into nurture campaigns, and just organize them, tag them, segment them, track opportunities in the pipeline, so that my clients could actually see the real value, and I could give them access to it, so they could it became their CRM tool, because most of my clients didn't actually have a great CRM or a CRM at all. So we were experimenting initially with things like Pipedrive, for example, as you can imagine, and that's effective for doing the pipeline management, but it's not effective for doing all the rest of everything else that HighLevel can do. The messaging, the interacting, the automation, it just blows. It's nowhere near as good as HighLevel. So we moved over to this, and I got to tell you, some of my clients, multiple clients, have given up Salesforce, SharpSpring, HubSpot, all to go to HighLevel, and they love it. And there's nobody that I've ever shown it to and worked with and given them a short training session on how to use it. From the sales rep through to the CEO, everybody loves it universally. It's the most amazing reaction I've ever had, because it's simple to use software that's very powerful. It does what you want it to do in a very simple way. You don't need a week's training course. You don't need to pay a consultant 5 figures. You're not paying the software companies 4 figures a month just to use it. You are with many of those softwares that I just described, if you're using it seriously at an enterprise level. So yeah, I mean, so adding on HighLevel to my lead generation service and producing this hybrid, so taking the leads, putting them into HighLevel and nurturing them, and helping this CRM become the actual the hub, the center of my clients' marketing, was transformational for the retention of my clients in my agency. That's the key point I want to get across. Wherever you get your leads from, if it's from Facebook, if it's from Google, or if it's organic outreach, adding HighLevel as part of the solution will just increase your stick rate dramatically.
Absolutely. And that's what we've always known, and we've always seen it. We have the data, and we've always just kind of been scratching our heads like, why aren't more people leveraging this part of it, the white label? And so that's what SaaS Mode is all about. So we're super excited to be making it even easier. I don't know if you've started to leverage Twilio rebilling, which is already out, but the plan billing is right around the corner. And so, by the end of, what are we in April? By the end of May, everything should be out, and it should just be really simple to go out to your market and say, we are a software company, so that you can, like you just said, stabilize your revenue, extend the length of your client relationships, which is the big challenge, right? Like, we all know churn is the biggest thing that we fight. And as it sounds like you've seen, once you get them using your software, the churn rate just bottoms out.
And I have multiple clients now. I'm not even doing the lead gen for. I'm their tech integrator. So I think
that's the key.
Yeah, I'm integrating their use of the CRM of HighLevel with their marketing campaign flow. And I have a bunch of clients that they've got good results from Google Organic. They're doing Google PPC. They're doing Facebook. But what they didn't have was they were using, for example, Zoho CRM, classic example of a CRM that's just this gigantic, enormous thing that's so complicated to use. You know, it's you never use it to anywhere near what it could do, and so I'm from, again, multiple my clients, I'm taking their leads and I'm putting them into HighLevel, either doing cold outreach and multi-channel outreach, but starting from HighLevel, or just taking their existing leads and putting them into nurture campaigns and reactivation campaigns. And but the thing is, they need your help as an agency to integrate the CRM into what they do. So
well, that's the point. That we're trying to, spark the light bulb. I don't think a lot of marketers realize the importance of their role, and that's what makes us different and why we think that we got it right. Whereas a lot of our competitors, look, we all know that businesses need tools to succeed, right? But the truth is, they're not capable to know what tools they need or how to set them up in the way that they need. So there's this disconnect of tool providers that just want you to put in your credit card. They want the business to put in their credit card and pay for the tool. And sure, you can get them to do that, but then it doesn't work. And so there's frustration there. And there's a piece in the middle, the integrator, which is the agency, right? The agency is the one, oh, you want leads? Great. I need you to set up some software first so that my leads actually have a shot at converting, right? And so that's where we're like, trying to shout from the hilltops of that you are the most important piece in the puzzle. And so you take the credit, you become the software company, you get the sticky SaaS revenue because you deserve it. You're the piece that makes it all work. You're the glue that makes the whole thing stick. And hopefully we're lighting some light bulbs and people are going to get excited and start leveraging it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've been speaking to dozens of agencies over the last few months because of Twitter. I do consulting with a lot of different agency owners, young agency owners. It's super exciting actually to see so many young people starting marketing agencies. And so I've been opening their eyes to HighLevel because a lot of them do cold outreach. That's become very fashionable, very successful for a lot of young agency startups, but they don't have any data management system, both for their own agency leads and also for the leads they're managing for their clients. So when I show people HighLevel, what they can do is like their jaws hit the floor. Like I could tell you about multiple agencies. I've done a 1 hour just showing them inside my account. They then hire me immediately. First of all, they sign up for a HighLevel trial immediately. Then the second thing is they will hire me as an integrator consultant to help them get set up so they can use it in their agency and or with their clients. And the best news is for them is they pretty much only need to hire someone like me for maybe about a month. That's it. And I'm not charging you Salesforce integrator rates. It's going to be a lot more cost effective to hire a small agency owner like me than someone that's a HubSpot diamond partner, right? It's going to cost you an arm and a leg. So where's the value? The value is immense
But you just hit one of the nails on the head. They hire you for a month, you get paid for that month, and then who do they pay ongoing? They pay Salesforce, right? Well, it's time to change that. Now with HighLevel, you put your logo on it, you're the software, they pay you for years that they use the software. You know what I mean? And that's really the big difference. And I think you made a point that I wanted to point out, and I think that you would agree with me on this because you have so many years of experience. If you're early in your agency journey, you're probably like, oh, you want me to generate leads for you? Great, I can do that. I need to dump these leads somewhere. Do you want like MailChimp account or an ActiveCampaign account? Like you need to sign up with one of these, right? And the truth is the business owner goes, I don't know, what do you recommend, right? They don't care what the tool is. And I think people get hung up on that, right? How am I going to compete head to head with ActiveCampaign? Or how am I going to compete? The business doesn't care. They want the result, right? So it does not matter that they've never heard of your software before, your white label of HighLevel. They trust you as the integrator. So you say, yeah, we work with our software or whatever you're going to call your software. And they'll happily say, great, it's the best tool for the job. Absolutely the best tool for the job. Perfect. Sign me up. Okay, great. Put in your credit card. And now you're collecting SaaS revenue for years, right?
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing. I tell every single one of my clients that the software is HighLevel. It's, and this is my white label branded version of it. Does that
Mhm.
does that mean that they immediately go off and rush and sign up for HighLevel and they drop me? No, not at all, because you have the relationship with them. You're their expert. You're their guy or gal, right? They
Mhm.
need you to integrate the technology to make it real for them. So, and they want the personal experience of working with you. So they buy from me, from my white label. I build them directly. I mean, that's typically if they're not agencies. If they're agencies, typically the best thing for them is to sign up through HighLevel, up through my referral link, of course,
Sure.
which is fine.
Mhm.
And so then they can then generate their own agency account and put their own clients underneath it. So,
Mhm.
but for my direct clients that are not agencies, they want to use my HighLevel, and it's a deep integrated part of their marketing. Now, it's like you know you wouldn't be able to take it away from them, you know,
Mhm.
without a fight, because they like it and they get great value from it.
Well, I appreciate you being candid about that because I think a lot of people have that fear of what if they find out it's high level someday? And just as you pointed out, it doesn't matter. It's not that it's high level, it's what you're doing with it, how you're setting it up for them, what campaigns you're building for them, what snapshots that you've built that you're loading for them, and how you help them in their journey and be there for them when they have questions or when something breaks or they want a new campaign or things like that. And I think people really get hung up on it when they don't need to. And I'm seeing more and more people be open about it, or maybe put powered by HighLevel at the bottom or something like that, because they feel weird, completely saying that it's theirs. And so the truth is, yeah, they're not going to run to us and try to sign up because they're not, again, businesses are not equipped to set themselves up in software and find success, right? They know that. They know that they need a trusted person. My friends down here call me the web guy. I got a web guy, what does that even mean? Like, I'm just someone they trust who knows about software, and I can help them make good decisions. And that's the key piece of the whole thing.
Yeah, 100%. So I first got Infusionsoft back in 2008, Chase. 2008,
Mm.
I was an Infusionsoft user.
We
Okay.
tried to get to Fusionsoft in 2008, and we were like, thanks, but no thanks. This is a bit much.
I mean, so I knew the power back then of automation and what's possible with a
Mm-hmm.
tool like that. And it was the center, it was the center of our business for what, 9 years. But now you have the ability to be Infusionsoft, to be Active Campaign, because
Mm-hmm.
you have the ability to create sub accounts for your clients. It's just
Mm-hmm.
so the value proposition for agencies is ridiculous. But the value proposition for direct clients is ridiculous because all these other competitors, they're so expensive. I mean, a close analogy would be something like close.io, right? And you're looking at $100 per user per month to get a roughly equivalent functionality, and not even then equivalent functionality, just, getting a bit closer to it. And some of these tools, they've got slightly fancier, slicker interfaces. You got to give them credit for that. That's fine. But
We're working on that.
yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about the interface, it's about the usability. They're two different
Of
things.
course. Yeah,
And
yeah. But we,
and
we are definitely going to be working on the UX a lot in the coming months. Once SaaS Mode comes out, we're just going to start leveling up all the features in the UX and all of that. So we're excited about that as well.
Well, dude, I mean, from based on everything you've done so far, I mean, the changes coming so rapidly, and they're so cool. I mean, again, I know there's nothing you guys can't do.
So, James, if people are watching and they're thinking, man, I could use some guidance on LinkedIn prospecting, on the PIM methodology, where do they go to find you, to connect with you?
Two places I recommend. The first is a website, which is connectedclients.co. Connectedclients.co. You can opt in there to my email list, and as soon as you opt into the list, totally for free, I'll send you a PDF report of the PIM strategy. So
Oh,
examples,
nice.
walkthroughs, yeah, totally free. So that's the first way. The second way would be to I don't know if you're active on Twitter, but I highly recommend jumping on Twitter. There's a great community of agency owners and business owners on what's known as Money Twitter. It's like this little corner of Twitter that there's a lot of positivity and a lot of business, and it's actually real fun with some great people. And you can actually find me on Money Twitter at LinkedIn_king. So
Nice.
yeah, it started as a joke and it stuck. So I'm known as the LinkedIn King on Twitter.
I didn't know I was having royalty on the show. I don't think I properly introduced you.
Well, I'm glad you didn't that way. It's a joke, but I do know a few things about LinkedIn, and I write about that and cold email and HighLevel on Twitter on a daily basis.
Nice. Well, James, thanks again for coming on. This has been a pleasure.
It was my pleasure, Chase. Thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one.